What's happening? I want to thank you for coming to Vape with the Viking. So today I have a pod system. Yes, a pod system for you. And if you've been watching for a while, you'll notice I don't do a ton of pods. I've reviewed the DNA Go by Lost Vape, the Q, the Vapresso Aurora, a couple of ones here and there. Just not a big pod person, and most of that's because I don't do Nick salts that well. At least the high milligram, which I consider high, is 35 milligram or higher. I've done some pod juice reviews. They have at least a really smooth 35 milligram. But then I also came across a couple companies like, especially like Bad Drip Labs and now Jam Monster, do a 24 or 25 milligram. So I can start to enjoy pods a little bit better. So today I actually have the newest from Uwell, the Caliburn. Now this was sent to me by Spring Vaping UGA girl. Shout out to you. You know pods really well. She says, here, you don't like pods? You gotta try this. So, but nice little pod system. So one of those things that if we get to the end of this and I say, hey, it's great, you should know that it's going to be a good pod for a person that doesn't use a pod system. Or if I say, really don't like it, you, as a pod user, still might love it. So, but we'll go ahead and dive down on it and take a closer look at this little UL pod here. But first, like always, Viking's Advocacy Minute. Every time. It's going to happen every time. So, keep it short and simple. I always tell everybody you don't have to be involved, but please be informed. Best way to do that is go to CASA.org, sign up. Takes a minute or less, and you can actually set your alerts for either in your immediate area for the calls to action or just the general broad, call to action. Plus, there are also Facebook groups out there as well that have different advocacy things as well. But definitely go on there. Just take the minute of your day, go on there, sign up, and that way you're informed of what's going on in your immediate area, or again, the country as a whole, because lots of bad things creep in on us when we're not paying attention. So definitely sign up. That's all I can keep saying. But for now, let's go ahead and drop the hammer on the Caliburn. All right, so what I got for you today is a pod. So we got the Caliburn by Uwell. So of course on the front you'll have your color configuration, big old nicotine warning. Then on the side you will have Uwell's social media information. Uwell. The little symbols that most people don't know what they mean. And then on the back you have your contents, warning, and then all the copyright information, manufacturer information, more websites, emails, quick response code, UPCs, and then another nicotine warning label. All right. So when you get into the box, it does normally have this little seal. I have broken it because I wanted to look in here. Then you have this gold Caliburn here. All right, now as we open up, the nice thing is they do put some foam, like padding, at the top. So in shipping, it bumps around. It's got foam to make sure it doesn't get all damaged. You have your Uwell Caliburn user manual, and it will have your authenticity on there. So I didn't even crack this open last time. So yeah, got your kit contents and all that stuff again. All that good stuff. So we'll go over that. All right, and then you will have basically just your full warning card. Talk about all that kind of stuff on there. And then you'll have, of course, the pod system itself. And you'll have it. And the first pod is already installed and does normally have a little plastic protector. I peeled that off to take a look at it. And then you'll have your little accessory box in here, which will contain a secondary pod.
So that's always good. 2 pods. Good stuff there. USB charge cable. And that is it. Okay. And it does look like a decently long charge cable. That's good. All right. So on the bottom, you're going to have your USB charge connection. And then you'll have your fire button. Now this is a button fire or a auto draw system, either way. And then your pod is magnetic. There's your contacts down there. Pretty simple. And then you have your pod here. Here's your magnets. There's your contacts. And then on your mouthpiece itself, you just take and pull this guy apart, which is easier to do off camera. There we go. And then there is your pod. So you'll see the coil itself there. And then something I haven't seen in a pod system, they have the like little mouthpiece, kind of like top cover of the coil to help kind of reduce that even more. So that's pretty awesome. And you'll see your airflow is at the bottom there. So you are getting your airflow from down here. And then you have your fill ports. The nice thing about this one is it doesn't matter which one you use. You'll always have one venting your air when you're filling it up. So this way or this way, it doesn't matter. Just remember the middle one is not a fill port. So left or right, not middle. Okay. So this guy up, Bad Drip Labs, little ugly butter action. I tend to use, if I use Nick salts, I'll use Bad Drip Labs mainly because of the milligram content. They have a lower milligram content, it's 25. So the 35s and 50s I usually can't do all that well. And it's always good to try to use this with a pod system because they do use the old school dropper method. So we can see how that will work even in this pod. Because this is probably the most difficult of a filling mechanism that you can get a hold of. So if you can do it with this, you can do it with anything. Let's see if it fits. And it does. It fits right over it. Just got to be a little slower with it, looks like. There we go. And there you see it's kind of equalizing itself out in the pod. So this is probably the slowest method you will find. And of course I just dropped some. Yay! I'll get a paper towel on that one here in just a minute. Okay, so see, there we go. All full up, even with that crazy old slow method. Still nothing too bad. Not that big of a chore. So just pop your top back on there. All right, and it's all full up. So we'll let that saturate for about 10 minutes or so. And so we'll go back up top. All good there. Go back up top, vape on it. I will give you my thoughts on this Caliburn pod.
All right, so that was my look at the Caliburn. So before we get into it, just in case didn't see it real well down in there, or if I didn't voice it well enough, just a couple little specs. The pods are 2 mil capacity. The battery is a 520 mAh or milliamp hour. I think that's what that means. Battery in there, and the actual coil is a 1.4 ohm. So, what do I think of it? Well, let's get some pricing out of the way. So they run anywhere from $30 to $40, just depending on where you shop for your vape gear online. I, of course, am in the middle of the Midwest in Kansas, so our shops will get them in maybe a year. So, so I can't tell you how much they even run at a brick and mortar. But you're probably looking closer to the $40 range at your brick and mortar. The pods, the replacement pods, I've been finding them for about $15, but it's for a 4-pack. Now, personally, again, even though I don't use pods that much, this is probably one that I've used the most out of any pods that I've ever had. And, I'm on a couple refills on it, and, the flavor is still as good as it was when it was fully saturated that first fill. Now, I've heard anywhere from people getting 10 to 15 refills before having to replace the pod. If that's pretty much true across the board, then just the 2 pods that come with it alone, you're going to be set for a bit, and then spend $15 for a 4-pack of them. That's a pretty killer deal. So that'd be my first pro, even though it could be a subjective con. Even though for a pod system, if you're looking at a lot of other pod systems, not something like a DNA Go, it's a little on the pricier side. Everybody's kind of coming down on them a bit, so that's not bad. But for what it looks like specifically, it's like, wow, it's that much. But if you look at how long the coils will last you on average, and then the cost of a 4-pack, that's a pro in my opinion. If you're going to use a pod and use it consistently enough that you're going to go through the actual pods, that's actually a pretty killer deal, in my opinion. So now what I'm running in it is Bad Drip Labs Ugly Butter. I have this and the Farley's Gnarly Sauce, which is more of a fruit base, where this is more of a cinnamon banana bread. And it's in 25 milligram, and I can deal with that. So I take this guy to work with me all the time now. And yeah, the flavor is just good. So pro for me is going to be the flavor. The flavor is there. I find a lot of pods kind of lacking in the flavor. It's like, especially with like Ugly Butter, it's something that I've had in the original nicotine base, and it's good. I like it. But then when I usually get a Nick Salt version of that same flavor, it's just really not all that, it's not there. It's pretty spot on. It's pretty close. So the flavor profiling is going to be very accurate. It's big pro there. Being aluminum construction, it's incredibly light. It's stupid light. Now, I guess that could be a con for you, but where I'd say most people would say that's a con because, well, it's so light, I'm going to drop it, or I can't really even feel it in my hand, so I'm going to drop it because I know it's not there. But the pros to that is, one, it is a little bit longer. So, and the colors and everything, you're going to know if it's in your hand or not. It's not like it's so light that it's just, you're touching a feather. But it's light enough that if you want to, you can grip it with your mouth. You can do a whole cigarette hold thing, you can do whatever you want to with it when it comes to your hand and manipulation. It does have the auto draw system, which I really like. And then, of course, if you don't like auto draw and you like the push button, you also have a push button. So lots and lots and lots of pros. One kind of little thing here that I've noticed too, and I know Spring had said something about it too, is when you first put that pod in, see how the magnet just pulls it down? It took me a couple minutes. I'm like, why is this not working? Because the light will still come on when you go to draw it and everything. So it's like, okay, it's working, but nothing's happening. So when you put that guy in there, you'll see there's a gap. So what you do is you let the magnets take it, and then hopefully that mic picked that up, but you actually let the magnet take it, and then you actually push it, and you'll feel and hear a click, and then you're good to go. That honestly is probably my only con, and it's not even really a con. You just got to pay attention to what's going on. Again, once you figure it out, it definitely is not a con. Top fill system, maybe a con there. The little top cap or cover can sometimes be a pain to pull off. But another pro, you saw me using a dripper style glass dripper bottle to fill it up, and I spilled like a drop. So, easy fill. very light, charges very quickly. It's just, there's just nothing but lots and lots of pros on this guy. So, I would say, as a non-pod user, if you like nic salts or you like pods, grab this thing now. Like, you're sitting here and you're listening to me, right? Why aren't you buying it right now? So, definitely one of, or not even one of the best pod system I have used to date. Period. Hands down. So, but that is all I got today on the Caliburn. I want to thank each and every single one of you for coming by and vaping with a Viking. And I'll check you later.